Greetings. Today we have another full body strength workout, and we have divided it into two collections. One is all exercises for the posterior chain, or exercises that are all for the back side of the body, back side, posterior. And then we have a round of all exercises for the anterior aspect of the body. So we're gonna roll through those exercises. A lot of them you have seen before, depending on where you're at in your training, but it always bears repeating, some just a little bit more in depth than the others. So with the posterior exercises, these are super important because if you work at an office, sit at a chair all day, or just are generally sedentary, the back side of your body is pretty sedentary and not getting a lot of action. So it is crucial to work this aspect of the body. So we're gonna start with the deadlift. Deadlift is just a hip hinging exercise that is really a full body posterior strengthener, and you'll feel a lot of activation through the glutes and the hamstrings. You're gonna just tip at the hips, but you wanna squeeze your shoulder blades back and pull your belly towards your back. Otherwise, you're just tipping at the hips, and that's what moves the weights. Squeeze your glutes nice and tight as you rise back to the top. Okay, notice how I'm coming all the way back to the top. When you're tipping, it really is going to be individually dependent on arm length and overall height of your body. That's going to dictate how far down you're going to go. The lower you go, the more chances you have to compromise your position and have more of that work compromising your lower back, okay? So what you want to look for is to keep your back nice and straight the whole time. The lower you go, the more the tendency is that you're going to round your spine like you're seeing here. And that tension is going to go into the low back in an adverse way, okay? So that is the deadlift. The bent over row we've done before. We've done single rows. But for today, you're doing both arms at one time. It's just up and down. Again, you're in that hip hinge position. Focus on contracting those back muscles. From there, we go back to the lower body, reverse lunge. So you're stepping back, dropping down, driving up, and stepping center and going to that opposite leg. So you want the knees behind the toes, and you want to drive through the front heel. From the reverse lunge, we go to a reverse fly. You're going to want to use a lighter weight. We're using those smaller, deeper back muscles and shoulder muscles. So you might want to go as light as 5 or 6 pounds or as heavy as 8 or 10 pounds. So again, you're going to tip at the hips, and then you're just going to raise your arms straight out to the side. So you don't want to push them back. You're coming right out to the side, no higher than shoulder height. From there, we're going to bring it down to the floor for our weighted bridge or hip thrust. So you're going to load your hip area with a heavy dumbbell. You could go up as high as 25 or 30 pounds with this. For the purpose of this, I'm showing you 15 pounds. You're going to want to hold that dumbbell in place. Feet solid on the floor. Lift your bum up just a little bit. And from there, you're going to drive your hips up. Squeeze your glutes as tight as you can. And notice how I'm not touching the floor while I work through those reps. All right, so do all the reps on that. From there, we're going to take it into some smaller muscles for kickbacks, for those triceps. With these, you have the option, depending on time available, you can either do one arm at a time or you can do both arms. So again, you're going to tip at your hips, pull your elbows up to 90, and then just press back and pull in. Okay, if you do one arm at a time, create that bench. Triceps are pretty small exercises, so again, depending on where you're at with your fitness, you might use as little as 8 pounds or you might use as much as 12 or 15 pounds. The key is to keep that arm up at 90 and not dropping that elbow down here. Otherwise, you're not going to get those muscles as much. From there, we finish the posterior exercises with calf raises. So again, nice heavy weight, a little balance work here. You're rising up on the ball of your foot. So try not to rock too much on your feet. Just lift and lower. Try to squeeze the calf. You can also experiment with the seated version where you just sit, rest the weights on top of your legs, and then lift your heels. You might feel that a little bit more than the standing version. It's really individual for people. All right, so you're gonna work through those posterior chain exercises, one exercise at a time for all sets and reps. And if that's all you have time for, you can just use that as a workout. If you have more time to work out, you can then move on to the anterior exercises, or you can just use the anterior exercises as their own workout as well. So for that, push-ups. We've done push-ups quite a bit, but the critical part with the push-up is that nobody is doing a push-up like this. Whether you're on your toes or on your knees, your butt is never in the air, okay? From there, you're gonna flip it over and you're gonna do a full sit-up. With the full sit-up, there's probably gonna be a little momentum involved, but you wanna try and use your abs as much as possible. Solid feet, pull in, and then come right up. You can put your hands behind your head if you want. You just wanna avoid pulling on your neck. You wanna squeeze those abs, rise up and lengthen through the spine, getting up onto those sit bones. All right? So you got the push-ups, the sit-ups. From there, we're going to the front squats. So with the front squats, we bring the weight in the front of the body, which loads the quads more, making them an anterior exercise as opposed to a traditional squat, which is gonna be more of a posterior exercise. So it's just down and up. Hold the weights in. You can literally just set those weights on the tips of your shoulders. From there, we go right into the bicep curl for the front of the arms. Probably the exercise that's one of the easiest to do, but most of the times people are using too much weight and their posture is off. So arms at your side, back is straight, fully extended, elbows below the shoulders, curl up and resist as you come down. You want your upper back to be nice and sturdy, so we're not seeing any of this, and we're also not seeing this, because there you're not really getting the full bicep. All right, the last one in the anterior series is lunges. You can do an alternating lunge in place, which is what I'm gonna do for purpose of demonstration, or you can do a walking lunge down a hallway across the room. Okay, so a much more quad dominant with the walking lunge as opposed to the reverse lunge for the posterior chain. All right, so that wraps up a great selection of anterior exercises. So I hope you enjoy those. You've got a lot of good workout options with that, so enjoy.